Now there is this eligibility case which has put Walungu out. And this one, my brothers and sisters, let's face the facts as they are. Let's be realistic. To undo this eligibility issue, it's a mammoth task. Chimona Fidawalanda Rusengo Luambwa. It is very difficult to undo what the ConCourt did on the 10th of December. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Don't be cheated. Don't be cheated. It is very difficult. Even if that judgment, we may not agree with that judgment. Even if the judgment to undo it, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It is very difficult. And worse off, Hakainde Ichilema in State House. With Hakainde Ichilema in State House to undo that judgment. Even if Balungu today or anyone takes over, even if Balungu is president today, to undo that, it is not just a matter of saying, oh, we have undone this. No. No, there has to be a process. There have to be a process. Somehow, as much as you are doing Mingalato, that Mingalato must fall in line with the procedures of the judiciary. And somebody has to come up with some intelligence of putting up a judgment that may sound like it is making sense. So it is not easy. Let's be real. It is not easy. So from my point of view, where we are now, it has become very difficult for Walungu to return into power. It's very difficult. I am not saying it is impossible. Everything is possible. But if that has to be possible, what will it take? What will it take? If that has to be possible, what will it take for Walungu to be on the ballot? Because, again, where we are now, we have a group of people, just like that time, we have a group of people who are busy saying, no, Balungu will be on the ballot. We still have some people. Just like at that moment when I was shouting, Mundubire, there were people that stood up to say, no, Balungu. Even this time around, we have people that are busy saying, no, Lungu will be on the ballot. Will be on the ballot. From my point of view, I don't know their point of view. And of course, what I say, it is not casting in concrete. Others can come up with their own opinion. You might even convince me. And I might, follow you. But from where I stand, as Chilufya Tayali, the public lawyer, the person that loves his country, the person that loves you, I'm seeing that very difficult. Very, very difficult. Objectively speaking, I am seeing that very, very difficult. And I have to tell you this because I know there are some people who are thinking or who are hearing to what this group of people who claim to be sitting with Walungu, who claim to be eating with Walungu. I know they are saying this, and some of you have got hope in this one. I am a man of faith, and as a man of faith, I've got hope. But at the same time, my faith is reasonable. Is reasonable, and I have to be realistic. We know in Zambia, rain season starts in November up to about April. It is rare that you would have rain in June. It is rare. It is not impossible to have rain in June. It's possible. Kuti yaloka. But in yaloka, everyone will be shocked. Infulamu Juni. You see? It is the same situation here. It's true, some people are saying this kind of thing, but I want to be real. I want to tell you It is not easy. It is not easy. And somebody will say, but no, why are you talking? Why don't you just keep quiet? If we don't tell people the truth, they will have some false hope. And some of them might even do things banking on that. Some of them might even do things banking on that. And some of these things that they might do might cost their lives, might cost their freedom. This is why it is important that we guide our people very well. We have got a lot of young people out there who may not understand issues. We have got, some ordinary citizens who may not understand issues and who may be hearing, balungu bakemina. They are having false hope. Because really, my brothers and sisters, no matter what, even you, Lungu will be on the ballot, Lungu will be on the ballot. Even you who are saying that, this one is a difficult one. I am not saying it is impossible, but what will it take for Balungu to come back? I've told you from a legal point of view, that is very difficult to happen. Very difficult. But then, when we talk about from a political point of view, it is also not easy. Because to take a for that to happen from a political point of view, you must put pressure. You must put adequate pressure to move Hakainde Hichilema. I'm not saying it is impossible. I'm not saying it is impossible, but I'm saying it will be very difficult. We have a precedence in 1991. We had that election out of pressure because there was pressure which started in 1989. Our first riot was in 1989. 1989, 1990, the situation in the country was unstable. There was a lot of pressure that was put on Dr. Kaunda, such that he had to give in to change the constitution from one party state to multipartism. And that's how we had MMD in 1991. Movement for multi-party democracy. It was a movement. There was a movement. There was pressure, real pressure for Kaunda to succumb and call for an early election, change the constitution, and we went for early elections. Now, that pressure which was there during Kaunda, if you look around, do you think we can have that pressure at this point in time? I tell you, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy this time around. It's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy for a number of reasons. Some of you, sometimes when you talk about abantu bakema, people will rise up. Some of you feel so militant that you can go out on the street, you can demonstrate and whatever. Trust me, at the moment, I've assessed the situation. It is not easy for people to come out. It is not easy for people to come out and put that kind of pressure, which pressure was put Kuliba Kaunda. It is not easy. It is not easy. Because really, if it was possible, this pressure would have been put. The first day that we saw Bakapokola surrounding Edgar LUNGU's house, we would have seen that pressure when Esther Lungu was arrested. We would have seen that pressure when this case of eligibility started. We would have seen that pressure when the judges decided to hear this matter in spite of having adhered it before. We would have seen that pressure. We would have seen that pressure when they called on the 10th of December, when judgment was passed. But if you look around the country, my brothers and sisters, yes, ubunga na balunda, yes, fewer na balunda, finch. But really, from my point of view, I don't see the situation that we had back then. And apart from that, when you look at your Dr. Kaunda na Edgar na Hakainde Hichilema, you can't compare these two. Bakaunda was a strong man. He was a strong man. But Bakaunda is very different from Hakainde Hichilema. It's very different. Just think of it, especially those of us who were Munankane, Muni Bakaunda. Hakainde Hichilema is a bigger dictator. The dictatorship of Bakaunda, you can't compare it to the dictatorship of Hakainde Hichilema. You can't. You can't. Hakainde Hichilema is a resolved man. Hakainde Hichilema opwemine niapo pene. You cannot move Hakainde Hichilema. You can't. People will die. Hakainde Hichilema will not give in. Look at what is happening in Mozambique. Some of you have seen what is happening in Mozambique. The election was held in August. They have been fighting. Up to today, they are fighting. People are rioting and so on and so forth. It is chaotic in Mozambique. But the ruling party has dug in. They have dug in. They are not moving. So it is not easy to change a ruling party or the regime, to put pressure on a regime and make them change their mind. It's not easy. It may take so many people to die. People might die. This is why I'm saying I love my brothers and sisters. I love my brothers and sisters. I don't want anyone to end up losing a life. I don't want anyone to go to jail over this, because you end up going to jail and at the end of the day nothing happens. Already we have a number of people that have been arrested. Already we have a number of people that have been arrested. Up to now we have got people that are still in prison due to some political cases, and especially some of these cases relating to Edgar LUNGU. People who are around Edgar LUNGU have been targeted, and some of them, some of them, they have run away, they have run out of the country. Me, as one of those, I am out here, let's face it. Let's face it, because some of you, you want to claim like you know too much. You love Edgar LUNGU too much. Some of us, we are here because of Edgar LUNGU. I'm in exile because of Edgar LUNGU. Yes, I used to oppose by UPND. And by UPND, they were not happy with what I was doing. But the moment I ran an agenda for Alebwe Rapo, things became bad. If you go and look around when I was being arrested, I was being arrested at the height of me campaigning for Alebwe Rapo. What made UPND so upset with me, it is Edgar LUNGU. That's what made UPND so upset. Another example I will give you, because you may not realize this. You may not realize this. My assault case was as good as resolved. My assault case was as good as resolved. And listen to me when I'm talking. Mule umfwe chisungu ndelanda. Mule chumfwe kishabwino wino. Umulandu assaulti. Wali resolved. Wali resolved. Mule umfwa. Wali resolved. Though the resolution was not what I wanted or what I expected, because I didn't want to be convicted. But nonetheless, it was resolved. I was not going to jail. I was not going to jail. That's for sure. I was not going to jail. But how did things turn around that the case of assault is still there? Why? Why? It is because the person that came and paid that fine was Edgar LUNGU. Epolia fumineria shi. Vaisalo lesha mamambala ala uyu muntu. Tuale monati ichimusa chakwe chali pona Edgar LUNGU kanshibalo mfuana. We thought that his relationship with Edgar LUNGU is normal. So Edgar LUNGU is still with him. We can't trust this guy. That is how UPND went and appealed that case. When they went and appealed that case, they even now started bringing other cases. They were like, na tumukonge, tulumulibule. Efodia veriashi. We were okay now UPND. The moment Walungu paid that 20,000 kwacha, awe fia pena no pena fia pena. They appealed that case and they wanted now to bring more cases on me. More cases on me. And that is how Naishile Monanat Apafia Pap. Because in the meantime, I didn't even have lawyers. So I looked at it. And that is how I left the country. So my being out here is connected to Edgar LUNGU. Let us look at other people. We are going to have by-elections in Petauke. JJ was close to UPND. The moment he went to LUNGU, JJ was abducted. Cases of atishanyuko whatever aggravated robbery was brought in. Today we are going to have by-elections in Petauke. It is connected to LUNGU. We have a number of people. This guy at Nanuyu, who are the former presidential political advisor, Chris Zumanizimba. Chris Zumanizimba did not go to jail for anything. Chris Zumanizimba went to jail because of when wakapokola vaishile monekera kule vasasangati na Chris Zumanizimba uyu muntu so na is still around by Edgar LUNGU. Efo bamufiantile. They knew Chris Zumanizimba had not committed a crime, but they had to fix him. He stayed in prison, I think in Kachingate 6 months. He stayed in prison. Today we are talking about there is that Indian guy. That Patel, at Rizwan, whatever. That guy is inside. Why? Because he's one of those guys that were militant for Edgar LUNGU. We have other people. We have Simon Nkoma, Alimukati. We have Uriam Gazurati, Greg, Alimukati. We have a number of people right now as we speak. All those who seemed to have aligned themselves to Edgar LUNGU. They have been targeted. So, from my point of view, when I'm saying, because I love you, my brothers and sisters, this is what I mean. What I mean is that some of you, if you have got this notion in your heads that Balungu, whatever, you might do things that might just cost you. And yet, it will not go anywhere. Why? Because even the capacity to fight that is not there. Even the capacity to fight, to push the agenda of Balungu Balebo, it is not there. It is not there. And why there is no capacity? There is no capacity because Hakainde Hichilema has made sure that Balungu does not access financial help that he needs. Balungu has been they have cut easy. Tuma salaries value for up to the two of our former president. They have cut it. Balungu is monitored. He's on surveillance 24/7. People are scared to go and see Balungu. People are scared. Now Balungu he's scared to allow people to come to his house and see him. So, as a politician, How are you going to mobilize resources? Balungu cannot fly out of the country. Recently, Balungu was invited to go to South Africa to go and attend the first anniversary of Umkondo Wesizwe, a political party, here kwa Zuma. He couldn't travel. The one who went is Nakachinda. So how will Balungu mobilize resources? How will he mobilize resources? Let's be real. Let's be real. These are facts. How will Balungu mobilize resources? Because as a politician, you need to mobilize resources. And the resources, you cannot mobilize them by social media. You cannot mobilize them by phone. You need to see people. You need to convince people. But Balungu has been confined. It's as good as Balungu is on house arrest. How is he going to mobilize resources? We have had elections. I have my elections. Resources were not enough. Resources were not enough. Resources were not enough. If you had good resources, you would have mounted people to counter those small to counter abena ntwanikani abena atinani uyu minister of sports. You would have countered those people, but the resources were not enough, so you couldn't counter. Bashon Tembo, he was moving alone na motoka yakwe, na motoka yakwe. He was generous. Actually, I salute you, Sean Tembo. You did so much. You did so much, Sean Tembo. You did so much. You people who went there, you did so much. I really appreciate. It's not that I don't appreciate what you did, but don't say you did a good job. But my brothers and sisters, I am sure you agree with me that if you had more resources, you would have done better. You would agree with me that if you had more resources, you would have done better. And Balungu, yes, I know he has been trying, but really, it is not the same like when he was in power. It is not the same. It is very difficult for Balungu to mobilize resources. Some of you keep talking, hey, Tayali, hey, Edgar LUNGU is whatever. Balungu expense and the money that I spend here, I don't think Balungu is spending it in a month. I don't think Balungu doesn't have money. He doesn't have money. So now, if we don't have resources, how can we fight Aka in the Ichilema? How are you going to put pressure? How are you going to put pressure? To put pressure on a government, it's not easy. It is not easy. And I don't see it happening in Zambia. At the moment, I don't see it. Therefore, I am saying, if we pushing, no, no, Lungu beyond the ballot. Let us all agree here. Let us all agree here to drop that agenda and move on. Let us all agree to drop that agenda and move on. And I am not saying this because I don't like Balungu, whatever. I am saying this, number one, considering Balungu Aben. Number one, considering Balungu Aben. I am speaking here, I'm speaking for Balungu. I am speaking for Balungu, for the love, out of the love that I have for Balungu. Because right now, we are putting Balungu under pressure. Under pressure. Balungu is under so much pressure. Pressure of, being with a wife who is facing serious charges. Pressure of being a former head of state and yet chirabushikubale kutuka. Pressure of having children abali makoti. That is a lot of pressure. That is a lot of pressure. And yet we want to put this pressure on him now to say, no, our way, just continue, just continue, just continue. Let's be fair, guys. Let's be fair, guys. Let's be fair. This pressure that we are putting on Balungu, we should lift it. And I am saying this pressure which we are putting on Balungu because up to today, I can tell you that I have never been told by Balungu to say, campaign for me. Never. Balungu is not power hungry. Balungu is not power hungry. I refuse. Balungu is not power hungry. Never at any point has Balungu said, Mpakafyenka ba president, Mpakafyenka ba president. I'm sure, even in the public, Mweva konka Balungu, I'm sure you will bear with me that there is no point, there is no point where Balungu to say, Mpakafye, I want to become president. I don't think we have ever heard that. I stand to be corrected. But from my point of view, I have never heard Balungu saying, Ndechfwa chintu mpakafye. Most of the times when Balungu has come out, it is out of the pressure that comes from the people around you. So my address tonight is that all of you who are saying, yo Balungu, I'm saying, drop it. I'm saying drop it. Because we are just putting pressure on Balungu. We are putting pressure on Balungu. Balungu doesn't need that pressure. He doesn't need that pressure. Because even if you insist on that pressure, you cannot sustain this. This fight cannot be sustained. This is too big a fight. We can't fight this one. We can't fight this one. And as we are fighting, we are putting Balungu Kuntanshi. We are putting Balungu Kuntanshi. As we are putting Balungu Kuntanshi, we are exposing Balungu. We are exposing Balungu. We will keep on targeting Balungu. We will keep on targeting Balungu. Even while saying, no, but will be targeting by Edgar LUNGU. Will be targeting by Edgar LUNGU. So far, what has happened to Edgar LUNGU is not good. That's for sure. It's not good. Do you want more to come? Do you want more to come? Because I know. Hakainde Hichilema will not sit back. Hakainde Hichilema will keep on pushing, But what will happen to Edgar LUNGU? What will happen to Edgar LUNGU? Na papata. Let us not put so much pressure on him. Me, I am refusing. I will not say Balungu, Shan is power hungry. Balungu is not power hungry. Balungu is not power hungry. It is some of us who are seeing some benefit in Balungu being in power. It is some of us who are pushing Balungu to be in the battlefield. It is some of us who are putting Balungu to be in the battlefield. But as we are doing that, do we have what it takes to fight this? Do we have what it takes to fight this? I've told you, if really we had the capacity, we wouldn't have been where we are today. We wouldn't have been where we are today. We are where we are because really we don't have the capacity. We don't have the capacity. So if you know that you are going into a battle, you're going into a battle. Now you don't have ammunition. How are you going to fight? How are you going to fight? We are failing to mobilize ourselves properly in a by-election. How can we mount that pressure to bring Edgar LUNGU on the ballot? How can we have it? How can we have it? And don't even talk about ConCourt. Don't even talk about ConCourt. Don't even talk about ConCourt. Forget it. So you don't have the pressure to put pressure in a by-election. Apanomba to by-elections yabidi. Petauke and Pambashe on the same date. On the same date. I know this will be very difficult. This will be very, very difficult. It will put so much pressure on the opposition. It will put so much pressure on the opposition. It will be very difficult. So if we are failing in a by-election, because forget about all that nonsense to say, no, they rigged, whatever. They cannot rig if you are equal to the task. They would fail to rig if you are equal to the task. They rig because you are lacking somewhere. You are lacking somewhere. If you are not lacking, they cannot rig. They cannot rig. And the issue of resources is a big problem. So you can't fight these by-elections. How can you fight? Because to fight to install Edgar LUNGU on the ballot, you must mobilize the whole country. You must mobilize the whole country. The whole country must stand up and say, we want him. But it can't happen. We can't manage it. We can't manage it. So that is where I'm coming from. That is where I'm coming from. And then, you know, others are saying, no, let Edgar LUNGU choose somebody. Let Edgar LUNGU choose somebody. And then that person will run for elections and whatever. I said it earlier on, that this issue of anointing a successor or somebody to contest, like what happened in Senegal, or like what Rupia Banda did, okay? I heard Shishua today was talking about, you know, the Kaunda way or the Rupia Banda's way. And I've heard some of you are looking at it as, you know, an alternative. Yeah? The second way, the plan B. This issue of putting pressure on Edgar LUNGU to choose somebody to run against Hakainde Hichilema should also be dropped. Let us just remove pressure on LUNGU. That is what I'm telling you. That is a resolution that we should make. As we welcome 2025, we should make sure that we remove pressure, political pressure on LUNGU. We remove political pressure on LUNGU. Not to put him to say, no, he's a president of whatever, he's going to be on the ballot. Let us remove all that. Let us remove all that. Let us remove. Number one. Number two, let us remove that pressure to say Edgar LUNGU is going to anoint you, who is going to contest. Let us remove that pressure. Why am I saying that? Because by LUNGU doing that, he will still be in politics. He will still be in politics, and the Hakainde Hichilema will still be targeting him. He will still be targeting him. Hakainde Hichilema will not sit back to see Edgar LUNGU anoint Chilufya Tayali to become president. He will fight. He will not fight me. Of course, he will also target me, but mostly he will target Edgar LUNGU to make sure that Edgar LUNGU doesn't have that capacity to support me. So that is number one. Number two, LUNGU, it will be too much pressure. LUNGU has got so many people around him. So many people around him. It will be very difficult for LUNGU, the way I know LUNGU, it will be very difficult for LUNGU to take a person to say, therefore Chilufya Tayali. I'm just mentioning Chilufya Tayali because I don't want to be accused of whatever. So it will be very difficult. It will be very difficult on LUNGU. That is too much pressure. LUNGU is not like that. LUNGU is a loving person. He loves everyone. He doesn't want to segregate, to say this one. It will be very difficult. It will be very difficult. It will be very, very difficult. It will be, I'm telling you, it will be difficult. LUNGU just to pick on one person among so many people. I've told you, there are so many people. Look at Given Lubinda. Look at how Given Lubinda has toiled for this party. Given Lubinda has toiled for PF. Look at Brown Mundu. Brown Mundu has got support among so many people. Look at, Vengi. There are others whose names, they are not Tayon Fuika, but Mukayon Fokuntanshu Kutulea. Tayon Fuika, and they are close to Edgar LUNGU. They are close to Edgar LUNGU. They are close. There are people who are very close to Edgar LUNGU, who actually help Edgar LUNGU in a very significant way. So it will be very difficult. So your issue, the way I know LUNGU, let's put it aside. That is number two. Number three, when LUNGU appoint a person, that person, it will be as good as LUNGU being on the ballot. It will be as good as LUNGU being on the ballot. And that being the case, LUNGU has to mobilize resources. LUNGU has to go around campaigning for this person. Like what happened to Arabi when Arabi anointed Edgar Chagwalungu, supported Edgar Chagwalungu. RB had to go around campaigning for Edgar Chagwalungu. RB had to go around countries mobilizing resources for Edgar Chagwalungu. So this is very important because Edgar Lungu cannot just appoint that therefore he has to back it up with resources. And he has to back it up with resources like those resources were his. During the time of 2014, when the Arabi wanted to stand, I was in the camp of the Arabi. I was one of the people that were pulling strings here and there. I even started the campaign. That is the time when we launched the privatization of Hakainde Hichilema. That is the time that we brought out the issue of the Brent Trust. It's me who brought out those issues. I brought them out and they burn like fire. Arabi was geared to fight for that election. He was already in motion. He was already, organizing things. They were already balloons of vitanges. I don't even know if but vitanges were printed. Consultants were hired. Arabi had a full back office to fight for that election. So it was easy for him to support Edgar Lungu because he already had the resources, he already had, the mind to fight. It's not the same with Edgar Lungu. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. And therefore, Valungu might anoint this person, but this person, together with Valungu, might just be vanquished. Might just be vanquished. And then what? Is that the legacy that we want to Valungu? We want to live on Valungu? Do we want Valungu to go through that, and that should be on Valungu for the rest of his life? Nakana. You may not like what I'm saying, but I'm telling you, I am thinking of Valungu. I'm thinking of Valungu here. I am thinking of Valungu, and I know even Valungu, he might not even like what I'm saying here, but I'm telling you, I have walked some steps ahead and I've looked what is there. And I'm telling you what I'm saying here. If we continue pressing Valungu Kuntanshi, putting pressure on Valungu, I tell you, you will remember this broadcast. You will remember this broadcast. If you are large sticker, 2025, if we continue pushing Valungu, exposing Valungu, I'm telling you, you will see what will happen in 2025, Kuri Valungu. You will see, and you will remember me. But if you love Valungu, I'm saying, let us relieve him. Let us relieve him. Let us remove this pressure on him. Instead, let us change. Let us start campaigning for the restoration of Valungu as a former head of state. Because Valungu vasalulwa. Valungu vachula. So now, let us change and let us start campaigning that Valungu be given the respect, be given the dignity as a former head of state. This is my call. This is my call. This is my call. And I'm calling upon all of you, starting with you, our Paraminina Valungu, starting with you, PF Central Committee, starting with you, the advisors of Valungu around Valungu. I know some of you people, I can mention your names. I tell you, let us be honest. Let us be honest. Let us put this agenda aside and let us move forward. As long as you keep holding on Kuli Lungu, it will even be very difficult for us to progress politically. It will be very difficult. As long as we keep on holding on Kuli Lungu, it will be very difficult for us to move politically. So at this point in time, those of you who want to become presidents, can you identify yourself? Can you show yourself? Can you come up? Come up now and show that you want to be president. And we will recognize you. Even at the moment, I'm not supporting anyone. I'm not going to say I'm endorsing this one. Because if in there and if I mention a name, it's this one who has sent him. No. I'm not being sent by anyone. I'm not even sent by anyone. If in there and they are just coming from me. From me. And for this reason, because I don't want anyone to be accused that not I am not saying whoever wants to become president, let that person come forward. Let that person come forward. Let that person show that they have got capacity. You have an opportunity to show that capacity. We have by-elections. We have by-elections in Pambashe. We have by-elections in Petauke. Go and show. Go take on the leadership. Go in those constituencies. Campaign and show your leadership. Show that you have got capacity to lead PF. You have got a challenge. You don't need to go to Edgar LUNGU. Go. Kuma by-elections. Go kuma by-elections. Forget Edgar LUNGU. Forget Edgar LUNGU. For this election, for these by-elections, I'm even suggesting that Balungu na papata mwika yako. I'm telling you. On this one, I'm saying Balungu na papata mwika yako. Just mwika yako. It's not that they don't want us to win that by-elections. And I know the support that Edgar LUNGU has. But let us start now. Let us start now. Balungu beka yako. Imomo balefo abu kateka. Nimomo kabie ni kokuri. Ni mwa kabien kupeta uke kabien kupambashi. Lungu musheni na papata musheni. Tampeni ukufua yorupia. No mbali ni tampeni ukufua yorupia. Tampeni ukupitana mo ukufua yorupia for the by-elections. Because lungu tako etorupia. Lungu tako etorupia. So pitane nimo wane kabien kuli. Kaila ngeni ulukula. Kaila ngeni ulukula kupeta uke. Kaila ngeni ulukula kupambashi. Tumimona ati awe padi wakapetaba abadi wakapetaba bantu twinga konka kwa ngamwamo na tinamu kwa tamaka. I'm not supporting anyone. Ni mwewe ne mweka mwewe akula ntumina mafoni kunje bachawe inende fo kwiminina not I am that abamu anyway shaye koko. Because already some of people have been coming to me and saying this and that, but I'm telling you, if you want to stand as president, kuipima. If you want to stand as president, kuipima. Tebu ituntumba vepantu wa ironesha chao na inendi mwaume. Awe. Iyo, tefu chaba pali mukateka. Muntu wandia dikabapali. Tebu ironesha fatawa inendi mwaume inendi mwaume. Ufuile wako na ukwatamaka na akwanina. So, if you really have what it takes to run for presidency, come up. This is the time to come up. We don't have time. Don't wait for anything. Don't wait for anything. We don't have time. If you really want to contest as president, ila ngeni ulukula apapeni hapa. Ila ngeni ulukula. Show yourselves. Not pantuma print or tuma t-shirt to return at yo. I've got capacity. Mwachita haya kabasi ka 18 sita at I've got capacity. Patari mdala, patari. Uke mina ukateka. Mwirangala, patari. We don't talk in thousands. We don't talk in millions of kwacha. Pakuminina Wukateka, we don't talk of millions in kwacha. We talk of millions in dollars. Millions in dollars. Epo mula ifimwena. Because I know, kuna mwambia de tuntumba shanchan. Mufile mwa ishiwa. Ngolefo kumina pali Wukateka. You should be talking in millions of dollars. Minimum. The barest minimum. Ngolefo ndakofila tina wataka $5 million. Not kwacha iwe. Epo mufile mule ifimwena. But for you to run a campaign, minimum, you should be talking of now what $5 million. But otherwise, you need much more. You $5 million in there and definitely. In car entry. Otherwise, if you really want it now, quarter so. Ulefo kui minina uno wino fe ka 30M kafile ka ingira pa. 30M if we are ingira. 30M if we are ingira. Pakwa vatu shan. Mukampele bring 5M so. Mairo, I'll tell you, I'm going to Zambia. I would land in that country. Now I would land in that country one day. Ni kwa kaingira beso kangwe. Wupina ulenga muntu wandi. Wupina. Kuti twaira ninga kampeni akainde ichilema kutala utauka kwa tikatwishi. Oh. So anyway, the point I'm trying to tell you, my brothers and sisters, is that if you want to contest, look at yourself. Measure yourself, and then, launch yourself. Don't expect Edgar LUNGU to launch you. Let us put Edgar LUNGU aside. Let us move on. And then, Kuriwa LUNGU, we must restore. And here, I want to make an appeal now to the church leaders. For that restoration of, the former head of state, for that to happen, there need to be some intercessors. To come in between Edgar LUNGU na Hakainde Hichilema. There must be people to come in to intervene na papata. I'm asking people to intervene. I'm asking people to come in between Edgar LUNGU na Hakainde Hichilema. Can you, especially the church people, the church leaders, can you come in? It is good for us to have these two come together. It is good for the country. This is a noble thing that you can do as church leaders. I am calling upon even the civil society to come in. I'm calling upon the international community to come in. I am calling upon those people who are close to both Hakainde Hichilema and Edgar LUNGU. Those people who are close to start speaking, positivity, words of, good words in them, so that these people can come together. If you mutemenefya kwa bati, mulesarura Edgar LUNGU, file keni, kabuswe, chipoka mulenga, OVC, Elisha Matambo. I'm calling out your names because imweni mwa atemwa sana okulumbula Edgar LUNGU. Imweni atemwa sana okulumbula Edgar LUNGU. Spare the man to apapata. It is for the good of the country. You are already in government. Edgar LUNGU, namu we have seen it. It is difficult, this one. It is difficult. Since namuchinga, you have declared him ineligible. Why are you still insulting Edgar LUNGU? Imwe, Kabuswe, Chipoka Mulenga, Elisha Matambo, Gary Nkombo, Cornelius Mwetwa. Why are you still Tabukawana? I would spare Tabukawana. Tabukawana, it doesn't really, he talks too much, but he's not so much on Edgar LUNGU. I think I will spare Tabukawana. But Imwe, you are leaders in. You are the ones who are making, even now these other people to be insulting Edgar LUNGU. Can we please stop? Can we please stop? What more do you want out of Edgar LUNGU? What more do you want? You have put him aside. You have put him aside. So why do you keep on, bringing up his name, bringing up his name? You can do your campaign without mentioning Edgar LUNGU. Now, Papata, stop this. I am asking you, my brothers and sisters. I'm begging you, please, let us respect Edgar LUNGU. Because you are leaders. If you are going to be insulting Edgar LUNGU, even the cadres will follow. Even the cadres will follow. It is good for us to restore Edgar LUNGU as a former head of state. To give him that dignity. It is good. It will be good for our country. It will be good for your government. So Nami Papata, stop bringing Edgar LUNGU in your day-to-day political activities. Leave it. We are going Kuma by elections. Leave LUNGU out of your campaigns. Leave LUNGU out of your campaigns. Just campaign. Leave LUNGU out of your campaigns. Leave LUNGU out of your campaigns. Nami Papata, leave LUNGU out of your campaigns. Umusalula uchepe kokuli LUNGU. Munewa salula sana. Please, to a Papata. And ukutuafuma. If you are going to go LUNGU, we are convinced to come back. If you are going to go LUNGU, we are convinced to come back. LUNGU was refusing, but I'm sure because of this pressure which was put on him, no Musalula, that's what made LUNGU to come back. And here, some of us, me as one of those people that has been pushing this agenda of Alewe, me, I'm stepping backwards, I'm stepping down. Can you also reciprocate by respecting Edgar LUNGU so that I will not mention your names, I will not attack you, and even some of you are my friends, the only time that I respond to you is when you attack by Edgar LUNGU. That's when I respond. So this time around, there is no need for you to be bringing Edgar LUNGU in your campaign. There is no need. There is no need. Leave him aside. Church leaders, civil society, eminent citizens, please come in. Come in. You have a job this year, 2026. You have a job in 2025. You have a job to make sure that we restore the dignity of Edgar LUNGU. Can you come in and intervene? Can you come in and intercede? And make it work. Let us make it work. Those of you, not to pushing, hey, how please, lekeni. Let's leave it. Now, those of you, don't score points by insulting Edgar LUNGU. Because you want to score points. Instead, tell Hakainde Hichilema something that is progressive about Edgar LUNGU. Tell Hakainde Hichilema something that is progressive. Baneva smumba. Muli bafyashi bandi baneva smumba. And today, ishasawaile finshi. The position that you have, but you have an opportunity. Speak to Hakainde Hichilema. Let him look at Edgar LUNGU, with compassion. Let him look at Edgar LUNGU differently as a former head of state. I'm appealing to you. Bishop Mambo, you know how much I respect you. This is a task that you have. Can you intercede in this situation? Can you intercede in this situation? You church leaders, you are praying for rain. You are in church. Some of you are close to Hakainde Hichilema. Can you speak to him? Can you speak to him? Those of you who are also close to Edgar LUNGU, can you speak to him? What I'm saying here is progressive. What I'm saying here is a message of love. It's a message of love. Let's move away from this. Let us preserve that man. Let us have that man restored so that that man can live long. Let us do our politics uko, but by Edgar LUNGU cheni tubashe. Mweba lefo abukateka, come up now. Come up. Come up now. You don't have the time. You don't have the time. As far as I'm concerned, I am not supporting anyone. You are not going to see me coming here campaigning for anyone. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Not that I don't have people that I prefer. I have people that I prefer. And maybe at the right time, I will tell you to say this one. But for now, with what is happening in the country, I will remain silent. I will not say. I will not talk about whatever. I know people want direction, So can those people who want to become presidents come and show yourselves so that people can look at you and weigh you? I think that is my message, and I think I've made my point. I'll open the phone lines. I've made my point, I think. Let me not, kutua tu alfia nyamukulanda futi.